So it's time to talk about something that happened when I was a much younger professional, you could say. I had a boss named Joe Morgan. This piece is called Joe Morgan Bingo. He was a grizzled old sales manager. He was bent, gray, and old, and he loved to rant and rave about how easy we had it compared to the good old days when he would work 16 hours a day, get doors slammed in his face, get paint and water thrown on him, and he had to carry a bulletproof briefcase. Um, I think he actually sold the shiny beach to the Native Americans at one point to exchange for Manhattan because he was old enough to. He may have been the one that actually owned a bridge that he could sell you cheap. Remember that phrase? He had the best phrases. Okay. We all hated him. He had the best phrases like he couldn't spell cat if you spotted him a C. This place was 2 miles east of Weirdsville.
I think I've been there.
And he was inappropriate to the ladies. He was that generation. We would make sexist comments and he would like play with their hair and stuff.
Oh my God.
He was the kind of guy that would not be able to survive in today's
Me too.
environment with everybody having a camera on their hip, right? So every year we dreaded the marathon annual sales meeting he had to have. This is a logistics company, of course. It would be all the C-level executives would be there, and Joe would grandstand like nobody's business. He was on, telling ridiculous stories with fire and brimstone about how we all needed to belly up to the bar and none of us were working hard enough. And
How do you put your belly on the bar?
that's an AA phrase. Hashtag Rachel. Yeah. Um, one time our head of finance gave a short presentation about said that some of our recent customers were not paying on time. And Joe became enraged at the caliber of customer we were attracting.
Wait, he was enraged?
He was enraged. He grabbed the wastebasket and yelled, "You boys need to get out of the trash can!" And doing so, he spilled discarded coffee cups and wrappers all over himself. So from then on, anytime we got like a bad Dun and Bradstreet report from finance, it was always get out of the trash can. No. Anyway, so that was just one incident, but anyway, so like I said, it was the worst meeting of the year. And so one day we were all really into fantasy football at the time. I was in like 4 leagues. All the guys were in multiple fantasy football leagues. And it just occurred to me as I was looking for my substitute kicker for my fourth team or whatever that we could make a game out of the meeting. And what you see behind me is an example of what we came up with. This would be the perfect way to liven up the meeting. So we made bingo cards with point values and a few random Joe Morganisms. So here it is. I'll put up on the screen for you. Here's an example. I had a face like a Russian flag, 5 points. That milk was old enough to vote, 5 points. Telling unrealistic sales stories, 10 points. Mentioning his son, which he did at every sales call. He was a Chippendale, but he wasn't gay. He's the only non-gay Chippendale. He would go out of his way to say this. Touching one of the females inappropriately. 10 or 15 points for that one. What's buzzing cousin? 5 points.
Wow.
She had a figure that made me crave melons. Who says that? 10 points. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, 5 points. And physician heal thyself, 5 points. That's not even a phrase. That was something he used to say.
It is a phrase.
Is it physician heal thyself?
Yeah.
It was for Joe. So anyway, so we decided that we would all have our cards in front of us throughout the entire meeting. And at the end, whoever had the lowest number of points had to pay for the bar bill that night. So we were well motivated. Now, again, in the spirit of competition, the first half of the meeting, you could just quietly rack up points when he would say shit, right? And just hashtag, you know. But in the second half of the meeting, we thought it would raise the stakes. You could play offense, which meant that you could try to bait him into saying these things. And I had no problem doing it. Joe, I think it would be helpful if you could share some of your classic sales stories from the old days.
No.
You hear groans from everyone, and then he'd turn his back, and I get hit with balls of paper from everybody. But you know what? You got to play the game. Joe, isn't one of your sons a dancer? Why, he's a Chippendale, but he's not gay at all. Cha-ching, 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 you know. So booze all around, you know.
And he sparkles and he shines.
That's right. He rides a tractor. I will say also one thing that was funny that I did not come up with this at the meeting. We had to wear ties, right? And when Joe would go on for too long, I remember one time I looked around and the owner had taken his tie and thrown it over his shoulder, and his brother, who was also the owner, thrown over the shoulder. And I looked our head of pricing tie over the shoulder. So then after the meeting was over, I would say, "What was with the ties?" And he goes, "Oh, we hung ourselves." That's what we do when Joe goes on too long. We just throw that over. That's just wrong. Yeah. So this has been Joe Morgan Bingo. So let's play a Tenebrae song line to introduce it.
Names may have been changed to protect the non-innocent.
Protect the politically incorrect. Yeah.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.